Hello, this is Dr. Hassan Abdullah with the course Web Applications Programming. And the topic which we are covering is search engine optimization. And this is topic number 13 in the list of topics for this course. And because of the comprehensive nature of this topic, there are three videos, lecture 13A, lecture 13B, and this is lecture 13C. So search engine optimization is the effort which you put into your web page, which points to your web application so that when the users are searching for certain keywords, using certain keywords, your page comes among the top pages on the first page or among the top ones. So that requires some understanding and effort. And this understanding and effort is presented to you through the supplemental website easymcq.com/go get. And this is a personalized learning management system. It has many features, and some of those features are listed on the screen in front of you, along with the URL where the videos are available so that you know about those features. In a nutshell, it has strong search capability, basic search and advanced search, which is not there in other popular learning management systems, which I would not like to take their name. So you can perform flexible search and you can perform search by fixing the order of the keywords also. For example, data structure unordered versus data structure ordered. So the number of results vary. And of course, the results are also highlighted. And then is the visual disability support. If the user has some visual disability, then the user can set the font size, color, line spacing, and so on, so as to make that person comfortable with the desired environment. So that is not there in many popular learning management systems. And then there is the hierarchy. So the all the content is presented in a very organized manner so as to facilitate your learning. First is the statement. You click on the statement, you see the bullets about that statement, and then you look at the detailed answer about those bullets are explained. And then there could be a diagram if needed, and there are references also. And then of course you can also test yourself. There are practice exams, practice quizzes which are graded, which tells you the correct answer and which also explain the solution to you. And you can take those exams multiple times and it is all recorded. The average is presented, the analysis is done for you. And then the content is designed in such a manner that it works with different types of devices, a tablet or a laptop or a PC or a mobile phone, and even if the mobile phone is rotated. And then of course you can track your progress also, that what you have done, what you have not done, so that you know what needs to be done. And of course that helps in assimilation of knowledge. Now the approach, the learning approach adopted in this course and all the courses which are using this learning management system is the question and answer based approach. So the concepts are presented in the form of a question, and then you are challenged to answer that question. So what is the advantage is it's a proactive approach. So it challenges you, unlike just a passive approach of presenting something and then going into some description and so on. Number one is that advantage. Number two is engaging. It is kind of an interactive approach. The system asks you a question and you come up with the answer, and you look at the explanation, and then you in the process you learn also. And of course this is in an adaptability is there. And because we are directly looking at the real world problems, and those real world problems are presented in the form of questions. And of course it's the critical thinking also, it's not a passive approach. Critical thinking, and we are much better than machines in thinking. So therefore this approach is adopted of thinking, right? Challenging you to the think. And of course then there's the advantages of traditional approach also, when facts have to be presented. So this approach what we have adopted here is the best of both worlds. So this is the list of topics in this course, Web Applications Programming. And as you can see, that topic number 13 is search engine optimization. Now within that topic number 13, there are 10 question and answers. And each of these questions and answer is itself a concept. So that is divided into three lectures, 13A, which is the first three Q&A. And then we have 13B, which is the next three Q&A. And then is 13C, which is the last four Q&A. So I'll be going into details of all of these Q&As, and we'll do that at the supplemental website. And we now move on to the supplemental website. So now we are in section 13C, and we start with question 7. It's a very interesting question, as a matter of fact. How do search engines rank dynamic web applications? Because for dynamic web applications, the page and the content is generated or created dynamically. It does not pre-exist as in static websites. So, and the base the content, the constituents of the content are in the database, and the database is not accessible to the crawlers or to the search engine unless it has been compromised. So, what are the key things to consider? These are the 8 key things to consider. So let's go through them one by one. Content rendering, server side versus client side. So in the traditional approach, the page is generated, okay, or the HTML is processed and it is shown at the client side, right? So that is server side, right? Rendering. I'm sorry, that is the client side rendering, okay? Because the JavaScript is running and it may not properly execute, or there may be some other issues like in CSS, okay? So the client side rendering could be slow. But if the rendering is done at the server side, okay, so the initial response is going to be fast. And when the response is fast, the crawler or the spider will give higher points to the ranking because the speed is reduced. But the problem with this server side rendering is that you load the server, and the server gets additional load. All right. So next is crawlability and indexability. So what does this means? Crawlability and indexability. Okay, now the requirement is that for dynamic web applications, all the critical content which is critical to that page, uh, it should be discoverable by the search engine or the crawler, and it should be indexable also. So if the page or the corresponding data is behind login walls, right, and it is not loaded synchronously, then the crawler is going to miss it. Now, using server-side rendering, if there are static snapshots or rendering tools are used such as dynamic rendering or pre-render, okay, .io. So that is going to expose a snapshot of the database-driven content, and that snapshot is going to be used for indexing, and that is going to improve the visibility of your web application. Now you remember that visibility was the first bullet of the first question of this topic. So all of what we are discussing and spending time is about what is about visibility. Okay, so sitemaps and structured data. Now if you create and maintain an XML sitemap, this is crucial for dynamic websites, not for you, because humans, we are not looking at XML. It is for the crawlers so that they can find all the relevant pages. And additionally, if you use structured data like JSON, this is going to help the search engines what help in understanding the content type and the relationships, and that is going to improve, okay, and result in good rich snippets, and those snippets are going to be part of the result displayed on the search engine search page, and of course then there's the more chance of a click. Okay, so what you should regularly update the sitemaps, right, and reflect the newly generated or updated dynamic pages. That's your job, because you are responsible for your website and to ensure that it comes at the top. So URL structure and routing. Now these things are kind of a kind of counter to each other, because we make a URL if it's like if it's get, okay, if it's get passing the parameters, so the ugly parameters are passing, okay, and they are not very much understandable by the human user or by the search engine, but they help us. So these are kind of counter requirements. So dynamic sites should use clean and descriptive URLs instead of purely strings or hashes, which we do and which we have done in this course also. And so what we need to do is we should use RESTful routing. Why? Because it improves readability and indexability, and avoid session IDs. Session IDs should not be passed. As a matter of fact, session IDs all are already at the server side, and dynamic parameters which we are passing. As a matter of fact, you can see right now at the top, dynamic parameters. So there should be a consistent, logical URL structure, okay, which I am not following here, and which navigates and classify the content effectively. And ultimately, it will enhance the search engine rankings. So that's the ultimate objective. Okay, page load speed and mobile optimization. Page load speed is so crucial that almost in every question we are addressing loading speed. And as a matter of fact, there is a question completely devoted to loading speed. So they are very critical. Okay, dynamic applications rely heavily on JavaScript, right? And therefore you need to optimize it. So enable lazy loading. So what is lazy loading? Lazy loading is basically you don't display the images first, the page is loaded. So what happens, it reduces the rendering of blocking of resources which are essential to generate the page, right? So and of course you should have the application with the mobile first design paradigm, right? so that the core web vitals are there for smooth performance and stability across devices, right? So now you might say that I am introducing so many terms and not explaining them. Why? Because this course is not about search engine optimization, right? So I'm just briefly explaining some of the relevant definitions so that you can look them up, and you should know that SEO is a field in itself. Okay, maybe I'll offer a certificate sometime in search engine optimization maybe. So now the content that loads only after user interaction. If the user is interested, then it should be loaded, right? And that may not be crawled. So techniques like server rendering, progressive enhancement, or what is called as initial hydration. So initially showing what need to be showed, right? So the key content is available on load time. And what this does is that the database driven content is accessed, okay, and it is used, but it is used later. So the first response is good, right? That's the point. Reduce the loading time. Metadata and head tag management, this we already discussed. Okay, that improves the click through rate. And then is the backlink and domain authority, that we have already discussed. But backlinks are basically, this is external. So whatever is the rendering method, your page is going to be prioritized, okay, based upon the content and strong backlink profiles and the domain authority. So you have to earn high quality external links, okay, but that signals trust and relevance. Now for dynamic content, ensure that pages are linkable so that people can link to your page. Enough information is there, and they are stable also. So you are not changing that information a lot. So that backlink is going to retain authority, okay. And of course, if you are not changing those links, then this will prevent broken links or unreachable routes, okay. That is going to harm, right? So this is, now I'll show you a sample code here. Sample code, and in that sample code, here are all the details which I have spoken. And this is the sample code, right? And you can see that how search engine optimization has been done here. And you should be looking at it. And my apologies for if it's not very readable. I will fix it. Okay, so we move on to the next question. So what are meta tags and how do they affect the search engine optimization? Okay, I will go a little fast on these tags because they have been covered in earlier Q&A also. So the meta title tag, this tag is important because it appears in the search results, and it also appears in the browser tabs. And of course, it is critical because it appears first and it tells the search engine, okay, what this page is about, obviously. So if this tag, I'm going fast, my apologies. So if this tag is well written and it is keyword rich, okay, a tag like this is my home page, this doesn't carry a lot of information except that it's about the home page, okay. So so it meta description, it is not used by search engines, okay. Now it is ignored by search engines, okay, because of the widespread abuse. But uh, it has no SEO benefit today. So don't focus on it, okay. So don't focus on it, right? Meta, I'm sorry about this meta, that has been depreciated. So I'm referring to this. Don't focus on it. So robots meta tag, okay, this is useful. This is useful. And how is this useful? Robots meta tag is useful because that instructs the search engine bots or robots or spiders, okay, and whether to index a page or follow its links, right? So if the value is no index or no follow, of course it controls the visibility in search results. And if it's misconfigured, it will, or it can unintentionally block important pages from being indexed. So you have to be careful what you're telling the robots or the bots. And viewport meta tag, this is essentially for mobile SEO, and it controls how the content is displayed on different screen sizes because the sizes vary from product to product and manufacturer to manufacturer. So if it is not used, the mobile users may experience layout issues. So you have to be catering to different mobile screen sizes. And of course, Google considers mobile friendliness as a ranking factor, and therefore this tag is important when it needs to be considered and for a responsive design. And then is the character set meta tag. This defines the character encoding UTF-8 for a web page, and it is not a direct SEO factor. But of course, if proper encoding is there, It ensures correct rendering of special characters and symbols. And of course, if it is done correctively, therefore it will improve the usability, accessibility, and overall quality of the page. So let me show you uh, some of those tags in a concise form. So we have these meta tags, okay, meta description tags, and that should be the length, okay, and use the click through words or phrases. So this is reflective of the content. Title we've already discussed a number of times. Then the graph tags for images, the image size, okay, and Twitter cards and schema markup. So there are a number of things which will help the bots or the robots, right? And here is the code. You can copy paste this code, and then you can basically what you can do is that you can apply the different SEO techniques which we have been discussing in this topic, okay, and you check the SEO ranking of your page before and after. So that will give you a good idea of the importance and the utility of this SEO. So we come to the what is the page load speed and how does it affect SEO? So page load speed is very critical. So what is meant by page load speed? So it's not very complicated. It is basically the time it takes for a web page for page to be fully displayed with all the content in a user's browser. So it is not limited or restricted to something, but it includes factors like server response, file size, geographical location, your location, and the location of the server, geographical location, how the script is executing. So there are a number of factors, and some of factors are beyond your control. But there's one thing is for sure: if the loading time is fast, it enhances the usability and the SEO ranking. So how do you measure the page load speed? Well, there are many tools around. Okay, like Google's Page Speed Insights, Lighthouse, and there's other tools around. Okay, and they can tell you the load times. Okay, and contentful paint time, largest contentful paint, and time to interactive TTI. So there are many metrics which needs to be considered. So I would strongly urge you to look at those metrics and figure out the speed and the load time of your web page. Okay, and that of course is going to help increase the visibility of your web page. Okay, so effect of page load speed on SEO. So Google considers speed as a ranking factor, especially for mobile phones. So if your page loads slow, it is going to be penalized or ranked lower. So improve the speed and enhance the crawl efficiency. So what's going to happen? It will allow more pages to be indexed, boosting overall SEO performance. So if your pages load quickly, so in the given time, more of your website is going to be indexed and more pages are going to be displayed and indexed. So impact on user experience and behavior. So every user expects fast loading. Nobody wants to like sit and wait. So if it is taking a long time, that is going to increase the bounce rate. People are going to leave your web page, okay? And when they leave, then it will reduce the engagement, okay? And the search engines will know that your page is less relevant. Only it may not be less relevant, but because of the speed, it appears to be less relevant to the search engines, and its visibility will decrease. So if the experience is fast, it's smooth, okay, and it keeps the users for a longer time, that is going to positively impact, okay, and your page will have a high visibility and you will have high conversion rates. So you need to keep the user on your page. Okay, so for example, if you look at actual number, you can read the details. The references are also there. Amazon reported 1 second delay in load time. Okay, could cause a huge amount in annual sales. It depends upon the type of company also. Similarly, Google found that sites which load under 2 seconds have significant lower bounce rates. So showing that direct SEO has revenue implications. So so the details are here, and there's also a very nice figure also at the end. So this figure basically tells those numbers which I just mentioned. So this number should be as high as possible. Okay, lab score should be like 99%. You can check the lab score of easymcq.com, which is very high, and you have to make an effort to get high scores. And I'm sure that your website is also going to have very high score because you have studied SEO. All right. So let's move on to the last Q&A, which is how PHP can be used for SEO. So when we started this topic, we spoke about how HTML can be used for SEO. Now we are saying that how PHP can be used for SEO. So I will go over it kind of fast. So generate SEO user-friendly tags that we already covered. Then use meta tags dynamically instead of static. Okay, they should be dynamic. And dynamic means that you have variables, you have data in the database. Okay, and it basically pulls that data and populates it. Create XML sitemaps with PHP. Before we were discussing that there should be XML sitemaps, and those are not static in this case. They are dynamic using PHP. Implement canonical URLs. So what are canonical URLs? For example, you insert link rel is equal to canonical dynamically, right? And what it will do is indicate the preferred version of a page. And what is the outcome? It prevents duplicate content penalties, so that you are free of that penalty. And of course, it consolidates the equity of the link. Optimize page speed and caching that we have discussed. Add structured data we have discussed. Handle redirects properly. Okay. Number 7, handle redirects properly. So PHP can manage 301 redirects to route outdated or change URLs correctly in a very better in so you can have a nice messages, okay, and that will preserve SEO equity and avoid the crawling errors. Okay, so that's in your control. You can do avoid duplicate content that we already discussed. Set robots meta and robots.txt dynamically. So you can control indexing using meta name is equal to robots, or dynamically generates robots.txt file .txt file, which is in the folder where you have placed the content. And then is directed, and that can be IP based also. So you look at the IP, and based upon the source of the traffic, you set the contents of the robot.txt file, and you can be creative with it. Okay, and that could be for each page or for each section. It's up to you. And of course, track SEO performance via PHP and analytics scripts. You can use these scripts, and of course, these statics, these should be could be available where you are hosting your material. So that could be there also. And then we have some sample code for you. Let me show you that sample code, which is dynamic PHP code. Okay, let's take a look at it, and then we will finish with this topic. So this is what I was mentioning. So the summary is dynamic. Okay, XML sitemaps are dynamic, so you're echoing something. And add structured data that I've already mentioned. So let me show you some code. So you see that we have this code and this code is dynamic. Okay, so the title is dynamic, the description is dynamic, and so on. So this is based upon the contents, and it could be based upon the IP address and so on. So that is all for the topic 13C. Thank you very much.